Welcome to The Dream Show. I'm Teresa Anderson, and this is episode 294. I've just finished recording the conversation with my guest, confidence and dating coach Tzara Attwater, who lives in Brisbane, Australia. We explored her dream and looked at how it relates to her life. Now, Tzara is an acclaimed self-leadership motivational speaker and relationship development coach, and she's dedicated to empowering people to take control of their lives, their relationships, and personal growth. And a long time ago, she left an unhealthy, decade-long relationship to travel around Australia solo, on her own, in a motorhome that she built herself. It was a courageous 2-year transformational journey, chasing eclipses, surviving unexpected wild encounters in the Australian outback, and coming face to face with the depths of her potential. As a confidence and dating coach, Tzara helps her clients to become relationship ready. She specialises in helping those who feel anxious and unsure in relationships to break free from patterns of overthinking, insecurity, and chasing emotionally unavailable partners. So first up, Tzara shares her dream. As always, as you know, I ask our guests not to tell me anything about their dream until we start recording. In my work with clients, I ask people to send me their dreams the day before, so I have time to consider them before we speak. But I know from the feedback that our audience gives that you enjoy hearing how the process unfolds when I have no prior knowledge of the dream. So after we talk about Tzara's dream and explore it, she also talks a little bit about lucid dreaming and one of her experiences of meeting up with someone in a lucid dream and having a conversation. And then we talk about her big road trip and some of her encounters, one being with a crocodile, swimming in a crocodile-infested water without knowing it was crocodile-infested, and there were crocodiles around when she was in the water, and other things that she experienced, and most of all, of course, what she learned from her big trip. And we also talk about her work and how she can help you. But before we go to my conversation with Tzara, here's a reminder of my dream resources. My website is janeteresa.com. That's Teresa without an H, where you can listen to every episode of The Dream Show right back to episode 1. You can also access the most recent ones on all the usual podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, etc. Also on my website, you can read hundreds of blogs on dreams and dreaming that I've written over the years, find out about my books, my courses, and how to consult me privately about your dreams. And at the end of my chat with Tzara, we share her contact details and details of her upcoming workshops, as well as free resources that you can access. And these are also available in the show notes. So let's go now to my conversation with Tzara. Welcome to The Dream Show, Tzara.
Oh, it's lovely to be here, Jane. I can't tell you how excited I am. It's so good.
That's lovely. Thank you for being on the show. I'm always excited too. Not only am I excited to meet a guest and explore their story and their history, but of course I'm always excited because I have no idea what kind of dream you're going to give me. When I work with clients, I do ask them to send me the dream the day before, so it gives me a bit of a chance to look at it and go in depth, but this is always a complete mystery to me.
Right. Fly on the seat of your pants kind of thing.
I do, yeah. We'll just situate you first because listeners do love to know where you are. You're in Brisbane, Australia.
I'm in Brisbane, Australia. Yeah, it's a beautiful sunny day here, but it is the middle of winter, so it does feel quite cold.
And whereas in Hobart it is officially 10 degrees and it's officially feels like 3 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. But let's go into your dream.
Yes, please. Okay, so it's a bit of a strange one. I haven't had this dream for a while, but it's definitely been a recurring kind of dream. And it's more of the environment. It's kind of I want to say that it's in a kind of labyrinth. It's a cave-like environment where I find myself, and there are people around, but they're in these kind of cave-like rooms. it's definitely got that underground kind of vibe, but there are definitely, as I'm exploring around, there are definitely sort of openings and shafts of light coming through. But those kind of areas are where there's I don't, yeah, the the people as I'm wandering around, the people that I'm engaging with have all got masks on. And there's definitely a kind of animalistic quality about where I am. I don't have this sense that I want to escape or that I'm in any kind of danger. There's more of a feeling about I'm curious about where I am. There's a kind of sense of exploration. But what I find a little bit off about it is that it's so dark. It's kind of in this kind of underground world, and the people don't seem real that I'm speaking to. They've got these masks on, um, almost like half animal, half human. So yeah, I find myself in this place, wandering around, trying to engage with people. Interestingly, the times at which I'm able to engage with or talk to somebody is in these kind of areas where there's lots of light or the shining light coming in. And then I'll go off and I'll start exploring, or I'll leave that light area and I'll find myself back into this dark kind of space. I want to get back into, yeah, yeah, I don't know.
That's a fabulous dream. I love it. It's recurring. Can you remember when it first started for you and when the last time was that you had it roughly?
I would say the last time I had was probably a couple of weeks ago. And I woke up with this sense that there was a very strong sexual energy about the dream for the first time, or, it hadn't had that energy about it for a while. Not that I was engaging, but that I remember seeing other people in these cave-like areas, being quite amorous, if you like.
Yeah.
Not like full-blown sexual activities, but there was obviously that kind of undertone around it. But yeah, it was more like, oh yeah, that's interesting. It was more of a kind of, I wasn't really engaging. I was just moving around this world, and yeah, it would probably be a couple of weeks ago. And then before that, um, kind of that kind like I want to say that scene from The Matrix where they've got that underground party happening.
Yeah.
It was that kind of energy.
And when did you remember when you first had the dream roughly?
Oh, when did I first start having this dream? Do you know what? I want to say when I first started coaching, when I would say about 5 years ago,
Okay.
maybe longer. Yeah.
That's all good. Just on that little side note there, you said it's a bit like the Matrix, the underground party. Do you mean the last version, the last reiteration with the sexual energy, or the whole thing, just that last one?
Just that energy in the labyrinth, being down in these caves is like this maze that I'm trying to get out of, and there's lots of people kind of engaging with each other, not really aware of anybody else, but there's lots of people, and they had these masks on, quite elaborate kind of headdresses.
Yeah. Interesting. So you said there that you were trying to get out. Was at the beginning of the dream you said you weren't trying to escape, you didn't feel that you were in danger, but you actually were trying to get out.
Leave,
Yeah.
yes, but not because of feeling fearful, or just like, yeah, what am I doing here?
What am I doing here? Yeah.
Yeah. But real curiosity, I think that was, what's this about kind of thing.
And with the masks, you said they're quite big masks. Were the masks, did they tend to be animal masks?
Kind of like what I would describe as like African headdresses. They had feathers on them, or the face was quite like a wooden kind of face, but different, very kind of basic, not elaborate jewelry or anything like that. Very, very basic, earthy masks.
Basic and earthy. That's lovely. I love the way you describe, you painted such a beautiful picture of this underground place and all the little sort of caves, but then the occasional shafts of light coming through. And I love the way that when you were under the shafts of light, that was when you tended to engage more with people, and it was when you stepped away from there that it was harder.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Just kind of like dark and isolated.
Isolated. So to me, that sense of being in the dark, and particularly because it was underground, is like being in your unconscious mind, because we're quite by definition unconscious of our unconscious mind. It's kind of dark down there, not much light, not much understanding, not much consciousness. And then these occasional shafts of light to me were like, this is where new consciousness is shining down. This is parts of yourself where, I'm beginning to see this part of my unconscious mind, or this. Underneath these are areas of parts of myself that I can maybe engage with quite comfortably, whereas there's other parts of myself in the dream, in this deep dark unconscious, which I want to engage with, but I just can't quite get to engage with them.
And even the masks, having the mask on is like a lack of awareness of what that is.
Exactly, that's right, yeah. And you can also say, in addition to that, that there may be, as with all of us, parts of yourself in your unconscious mind that wearing masks, as we do, not necessarily masks to hide, but that's me being sister, that's me being loving person, that's me being teacher, that's me being whatever. And these are all the masks that I wear, all the roles that I wear in life, perhaps. And they might also be masks that I wear to not be myself. But, we all, as you know from your work, have so many aspects of ourselves, and everyone and everything in the dream represents something about those aspects. So it's like when you have this dream, you're going, right, okay, I really want to go deep into my unconscious mind here. I want to engage with aspects of myself. It's only easy to do it where there is some amount of light, where I've got some amount of understanding of my unconscious mind, but I'm really aware that there is, like everyone else, that there are these huge areas of myself in this unconscious mind that I really want to engage with. I wish I could.
Right. And the darkness is so that's aspects of myself that is I'm unconscious of.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm going in there and walking around and trying to find, because there's definitely curiosity as I'm walking around this space.
Which kind of works with your life, because, works with your work, because your work is about also exploring the unconscious mind as well. Yeah. So you're kind of doing that in the dream. But it's a difference between the willingness, I really want to engage, but why can't I quite engage here?
Right. So it's because I just get the sense that they're off doing their own thing.
Yes.
And they're busy with someone else. And so I'm just going to wander around until I find someone I can talk to. And then I'll talk to them in that kind of light area. It's interesting.
Because ideally, at the end of the day, we want to be able to engage with all aspects of ourselves and integrate them to become more one. Yes. So, your dream is showing what's typical for a lot of people, which is, yes, I'm aware of all these aspects of myself, but I'm far from integrating some of these, because, as you said, they're off doing their own thing. They're talking to other people. Like, come over here. I want to know more about you and integrate you into my life. I want to bring you into my life now. Oh, no, I'm off busy doing these other things.
Right, wearing a mask.
Wearing a mask, yeah. I don't want to be part of your life. I want to be comfortable in your unconscious mind wearing a mask here. And the fact that you thought, you said it kind of had an animalistic kind of feeling was really interesting to me, because people will often dream of animals. You can't take a dream dictionary approach, but people will often dream of animals when they're either picturing their animal nature or their instinctive nature, or when there's something that's still pretty unconscious, but it's just beginning to become a bit more conscious, but not conscious enough to be able to slap a face on it in the dream. So it comes up more as an animal energy, that you can't talk to the animal. So to put that more precisely, if you dreamt, for example, of a cow, I know you didn't, but a cow, and if I said to you, oh, what's a cow mean to you? You might thought, what's a cow like? You might, it's a very domestic kind of creature. So you might say, okay, this is some aspect of yourself that's quite more domesticated than you realise, that you're just sort of becoming to are getting to notice in your dreams. But if you really knew it well, it might appear as a human. It might appear as a friend of yours that's very domestic or very not domestic. And you've put a face on it and you're more conscious of it, and you can explore this aspect of yourself. Whereas when it's a part of yourself that you're less conscious of, it tends to appear more animal. I can't speak to it. I can just get the feel of it.
Interesting. And so that there was definitely a sense they're definitely people, but there's this centaurian kind of half animal, half human, and yeah, they're of the face. They're covered. I should say there's a lot of nudity in there, right? There's not much covering anybody but down there, and so I don't know whether that speaks to the I don't know openness. I don't know.
Definitely, I would say, yeah. So you've got this sense of, with the centaur kind of feeling, half conscious, half unconscious. The unconscious part maybe the animal, the conscious part maybe the body, and that goes with the shafts of light coming through everywhere as well. And the nudity, particularly combined with the masks, is probably the nudity is this is my real self. This is an authentic part of myself. I don't need to be wearing clothes. I don't need an image. I'm not dressed up as anything. This is me. It's real, but I'm just going to hide a little bit, okay? I'm going to wear a mask.
Right. Right.
And to me, when the last iteration of the dream, which was a couple of weeks ago, that had more of a sexual energy,
Yes.
which was a good sexual energy, to
Yes.
me that felt like, okay, this is getting more integration happening here, because sex in a dream will often, not always, but often be you're beginning to integrate with a part of yourself, beginning to bring it on board more. So there's that getting closer to... So something may have happened a couple of weeks ago when you had the dream that brings things integrating a little bit more. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes, I've been running some, this is really interesting. I've been running some workshops that I've been doing all year, different kind of workshops within the field of coaching, within the field of what I do, and obviously trying to find that sweet spot of what does the market really want. And a couple of weeks ago, for the first time, I got a serious amount of engagement on a workshop that obviously got the messaging right or whatever it was. And that's now springboarded off into a whole nother area that I'm now kind of right. I think I found what it is that people are really wanting from me, and being able to provide them with that. So, yeah, that probably happened around the same time. Yeah. That I really feel like, wow, I found the calling. I found what it is that I can really offer that they really, really want, rather than imagining and keep on going, trying to
Yes.
offer different workshops. And so there's been some real shifts in that. That's interesting.
That really is lovely. And I love that it's brought, on the one level, as you say, in that workshop, you were actually engaging more with people or getting them to be more engaged, or the other way around. And you've got that symbol of the close, almost sexual engagement there. And then at a level of parts of yourself, that means there's also parts of yourself integrating more. And that's probably what has enabled you to produce the kind of workshop which is on the nail.
Yeah, that's right. It's interesting because I thought that, before we've had this conversation, that the symbolism of that dream was about the clients that I work with, because they often wear masks. They often kind of not really sure of what their problems or what their issue is, what they're trying to uncover. So I always thought it was that, but I really love the sharing that you've given about, it's facets of me or facets of my own psychology, which is,
Yeah, because it will work both ways. One of the functions of our dreams is to problem solve. So anything we're trying to problem solve, different ways of working with clients, your clients or whatever, then you're going to also meet, here are my clients with their masks on. This is my role to unmask them, to engage with them, whatever. So it's working at that level. But often whatever we're doing in the outer world is also reverberating on the inner world. So you're also then working with aspects of yourself and integrating them.
I love that. That's so cool. I love that.
And it first started when you started coaching.
I probably had the dream before that. I say with coaching, but I probably would have, I used to be involved with a meditation school of Gnosis for years and years. I think I was in that for about 13 years. And that self-discovery, that self And I used to have the dream a lot then as well, which kind of marries with what you're talking about, that uncovering of self. So we used to do a lot of dream analysis in that study and that psychology, a lot of dream yoga, and there was all sorts of practices that we could do during the day. I don't know if I can I share with you
I'd
what?
love to hear if you're happy with that. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just me. I always forget there's all these other people that
Yes.
we're talking to. But I would love to hear, and they would too.
So what I learned in this school was, and I've got no way of knowing whether this is right or wrong, but this is what I believed at the time, that when we go to sleep, that we're just entering a different kind of dimension of reality, and that dimension of reality operates under certain rules or certain laws, if you like. So in this physical plane that we're now talking into, we've got gravity as a law, let's say. And so when you go into this dimension in the astral, gravity doesn't exist. It's not a law in that world. And so your body becomes very elastic and kind of rubbery. And so some of the practices that we were giving to do in the physical world, in this world, was if something strange or bizarre happened, we were told to pull our finger, right? To just give our finger a little pull, so that it trains the mind mechanically with repetition to do that. And when you're in the dream, when you're sleeping, you might see a pig fly or something that makes you go, oh, that's weird. And you'll naturally pull your finger. And when you pull your finger, it will stretch. It will do this
Yes.
incredibly kind of rubbery stretch. And that's a trigger to kind of say, you're dreaming, you're awake now in your dream, and kind of takes back some control and start doing some work within the dream. One of the things that we were practicing with my partner at the time was to try and both of us wake up in the dream. And it's only happened to me once. And we had been on this a long weekend retreat, and we had been doing lots of practices within dream yoga. And I woke up in the morning and I went and was brushing my teeth. And he was still in bed, and he called to me and he said, "Hey, I had a dream that we chatted. I saw you in my dream." And I was like, "Yeah." We started saying about the fridge or something. And I just remember vividly, I went running back into the bedroom, and he went as white as a sheet and was like, "That's exactly the conversation." So we both had the experience of waking up in the dream and having a conversation with each other and being able to recount that in the physical world. So I have this experience of, my own experience of giving testimony to this. I really believe that's true, that's what happened because of the reflection of my partner. I mean, I'm going to stop talking now. Can you speak
Oh,
to?
no, that's absolutely fabulous. So, you're describing what also goes under the term of lucid dreaming there, where you are dreaming, but you know that you're dreaming. So you're conscious and dreaming at the same time.
Same
You know
time.
there's two realities, there's waking
Yes.
reality and there's dream reality. So just to backtrack for people listening, this sense of the body being rubbery or no gravity,
Yes.
that's the sense in a dream that you are more aware of your essence than your physical body. And
Okay.
because you're dreaming, you can imagine and picture your body taking whatever shape and form. Anything can happen in a dream. And that's a
Right.
fantastic way to, I haven't heard of that particular one of pulling the finger before, but that's a great way of getting yourself into a lucid dream.
Yes.
So that said, it is really usually very difficult to share a dream. It often happens when partners or people in the same family are going through, this didn't apply in your case, but are going through similar challenges, talking about stuff, having similar experiences. And so not a surprise that you go to bed and have similar dreams because you're both trying to work through the same stuff. So often you can have similar symbols or similar dramas, and you can say, yeah, we were both dreaming about the same thing. And people will say, we shared a dream. And I think, well, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, maybe you had similar dreams.
Right.
What you're describing there is actually much more shared content. So what I picture as happening there is because you were lucid dreaming, you weren't 100% in the dream. Well, you were 100% in the dream, but you were also 100% awake. You were in two minds at the same time. So whereas in waking life, we tend not to pick up on each other telepathically because we've got the prefrontal cortex at the front of our brain editing us and making sure all logic is in place.
Yeah.
And when you're dreaming, that is turned off. So the rest of your mind is really much more open and receptive. So for some people, certainly not for everyone, but some people, when you're dreaming, you can, in this receptive state, sometimes perceive what is happening for other people. It's rare, but you can do it. It kind of enters into it. So I think because you were, or at least you were lucid, he may also have been lucid, I'm not sure. One of you was able to have that kind of connection, and whether you actually met in the dream or whether you were picking up what he was going through or vice versa, there was definitely an interaction there.
There was 100% an interaction. We had a conversation because one of the practices we were taught is that you go to try and find somebody who's doing these practices in order to help you wake up and have these conversations. So part of the practice is to go and find your partner. And so that's what we had done. And I was having a conversation with him, but when we woke up in the physical, I relayed exactly what I had said to him, and he responded with what he had said to me in the dream, but he was in the physical. So it was like, you couldn't just make up what you'd said to me. You had to have been there and had the experience. And so we both had the experience of waking up and having a conversation together in the dream, which kind of confirmed for me that dimension, I can't think of any other way to describe it, exists. And it's always obviously there. It's just whether we're operating in that dimension or not.
Yes. So, yeah, we have the illusion while we're awake that this is the real thing.
Yes, that's right.
And when you're asleep and dreaming, you have access to all your unconscious mind and beyond, whatever it is as well. Yes.
So one thing I always thought was really interesting was that in these practices, in trying to wake up in the dreams, I'd never see my face, even if I was looking in a mirror. I would not see my own physical face. Can you speak to that? What's that about? Why wouldn't you be able to see our face?
It is interesting, isn't it? There are several things that people find hard to do in a dream. One is to see your face in a mirror, even in a normal dream.
Yes.
One is if you fall asleep reading a book, you may continue reading it, but the story will go all over the place and the sentences will merge. Another thing that people find difficult is anything to do with numbers, adding them up. Which may be because this prefrontal cortex is not working. Right. One that a lot of people find extremely difficult is manipulating a mobile phone, a cell phone. The numbers will go wrong. Everything will go wrong. You cannot do what you're trying to do with it at all.
Wow.
And the other famous one, which I have been able to do, is they say that you can't switch a light switch on in a dream and the light goes on, but I have done that.
Wow.
So, so I think they're kind of anomalies where we try to do logical things and expect logical results.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know about the face. My feeling is that when you're dreaming, you really are in touch with so many other aspects of yourself that it's kind of seeing the one that you parade in waking life almost doesn't make sense.
Right.
The main character in the dream, which, the one that feels like you usually experience the dream from inside your body, looking out at all the parts of yourself. So if you were to look into a mirror, your dream might be, I'm looking at an aspect of myself rather than how I see myself to be. That would be my take on that.
So one of the kind of I guess one of the reasons we were given in these kind of practices was that we have so many past lives that we are we the people that we see in our dreams are reflections potentially of a past life or of an emotion that we're potentially trying to exercise through. So when we look at a mirror, it's impossible for us to see our real face because because we have one life that's kind of taken over from millennia and millennia, and so we constantly change that face. The physiognomy just keeps on changing, so we wouldn't recognize our face anyway.
So that kind of fits in with the idea that in waking life we have this strong sense of self, that when we're dreaming we realize there's so much more to us than meets the eyes, and literally meets the eyes in the mirror, I guess. It's that I am more than I appear to be. So your
Yes.
dreaming mind won't play that game of this is me.
That's right. It's right. I just find it fascinating. So, you might kind of think, well, why try and wake up in your dream? What's the point of trying to do that? And because it operates at a different dimensional, the laws that are different in there. So we can fly, right? We can fly in
Yes.
our dreams, and we can jump around, and we're elastic and all of that stuff. So the time that it takes let's say in the physical world, the time that it takes for us to circumnavigate the globe, like to get into a plane and try and get somewhere. In the astral world or in that dimension, you just have to have the thought and you can be in that space, right, as quickly as possible. So we would try and do practices where, okay, let's go and see where the pyramids were built, like in time, and do things that to understand our own self-development more.
Yeah, that's the lovely thing about lucid dreaming, that you're awake to your dream and therefore you can conjure up any scenario and like role play a situation within it, or just be creative within it or experience within it.
It's like you're saying you're kind of working out those things that you're trying to deal with in your physical world. It's this place for you to be able to do that.
Yes, yeah. And that's it. So remembering just ordinary dreams, let's not call them ordinary, no dream is ordinary, but
No.
remembering our non-lucid dreams opens us up to that vast field of the rest of ourselves. And so, in every dream, we're usually processing the last 1 or 2 days of our
Yes.
conscious and unconscious experiences to try to kind of update our mindset and make sense of our world, which is why that last one of yours kind of fitted in with what was happening 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
don't know whether you're ready to share that one 2 weeks ago. You said you just run this workshop where people engage on a different level, and it gave you a more of a feeling for what you really, really want to do. Are you ready to share that, or is that still up your sleeve
Yes.
for a while?
So it's about how to have a difficult conversation, which is really interesting because I guess my kind of struggle was an inability to have a conversation in my dream.
Yes.
So it's quite funny. But yeah, I think my personal take is the advent of digital space and AI, that people are losing the ability to have those kind of conversations. So whether it's you're having to break up with a partner, or you're having, as a leader in an organization, you're needing to fire somebody. There are all sorts of different difficult conversations that we tend to avoid. And so, I've created now a 3-day workshop that I'll be running mid-July. I'm not sure when this recording will be going out, but I'm hoping to be running this workshop regularly, as it's something that's really hitting home for a few people, and I'm getting some incredible responses back. So whether you're a leader, or whether you're just dealing with this thing personally, I think it's arming people with the skills to be able to have that difficult conversation. And that difficult conversation is different, like I've said, for whoever. And I think it really stems from a childhood wounding, where I don't know if any of your listeners were like me, we're told, children should be seen and not heard, and not given that voice, or that your voice doesn't matter. And so when that translates into adults, we don't speak up for our needs. We can continually people pleasing, and in the workplace, that can look like overwhelm with someone not being able to articulate a healthy boundary. and that crosses over into relationships. And so this is what my workshops have been all about all for the last couple of years, until I found this sweet spot where I've gone, wow, it's so prevalently obvious to me that it's just about having that conversation. So yeah, I'm going to be running these workshops now.
That's absolutely fantastic. This podcast goes out on the 7th of August, so you'll have done one or two, but you'll still be going.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I'm hoping that yeah, I'll be running these as a regular thing.
Yeah.
Not to discount or dismiss any of the other work that I've been doing, but it just opens the conversation so that if someone's finding that they're having a difficult conversation, they can come and talk to me about that,
Yes.
and we'll be able to uncover, well, how is this impacting other areas? Where's the pattern here? Similar to what you're doing with me, and unpacking what's going on elsewhere, you know.
Yes. Yeah, I love that it does cross everything that you do, as a confidence coach, as a dating coach, as a self-leadership
Yeah.
authority. It comes into all of those things. But I'd like to backtrack slightly
Okay.
to, did all this begin when you did your amazing journey, which, I'll preface it a bit in the intro, but basically you left a toxic relationship, and did you build a motorhome, or did you?
It is.
Tell us the
Yes.
story.
So that partner of mine that we had this amazing experience with, unfortunately, I found out he'd been cheating on me, and my world kind of crashed and took a little bit of healing. And so when COVID hit, was all around that, just a little bit after, but in that time, I really felt quite broken. I felt very unlovable, and there was a monotony in my life day to day going on. I just thought there's got to be more than this. And I had already started doing the coaching, and so I thought, I'm a confidence coach. I've got to go and do something. Like, I can't be sitting around doing this. And so I decided back in my 20s, sorry to jump around a bit, but back in my 20s, I'd travel all over the world to visit solar eclipses wherever they were happening in the world. And they actually happen a lot more regularly than what most people think. There's probably one every year or one every 2 years. It's just a question of whether it's on land or whether it's out at sea. And I always, my little shtick was to allow the eclipse to tell me which country I was going to go and travel and experience that country. So I'd been to about 10 different eclipses. And at this point during COVID, I remember doing the laundry, and I was looking up at this flickering fluorescent light and just going, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be, and that younger voice in me kind of whispered, well, where's the next eclipse? Let's go and find it. And as luck would have it, given COVID was hitting, it was in Ningaloo Reef in Western Australia. And so I decided that I was going to build a van and drive all the way over there. And what started off as like the seed of an idea ended up being a 3 year, 2.5 year odyssey on the road by myself out in the middle of nowhere, having the most incredible experiences. I mean, I have a new felt love affair for Australia because it's just the most incredible country. Just magnificent. The things that are happening out there that we really are unaware of. It's just spectacular. So the stars at night, for one thing. I've had emus coming up to me, wild emus, checking out my coffee in the morning, wanting to know what I'm doing. Inadvertently swimming in crocodile infested waters.
Oh my God, gosh.
Crazy, crazy.
Did you only find out afterwards, or did you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I found these amazing it was just beautiful, sandy bank, river, fresh water. And so I had set up my camp there, and I can stay off grid for about 5 days. And I was 3 days in, and I've been, not swimming, but dunking in, having a little bit of a wash and coming back out and doing my thing. And it was like the second or third day. And it was about 9 o'clock at night, and I could hear all this commotion outside with torches from people. So I got outside the van, what's going on? And they had been following this crocodile, which was about 2 meters in length, down the river. And if you don't know, when you shine a torch into the crocodile's eyes, it reflects back red, so you know that that's what you're watching. And sure enough, I could see this crocodile. I was like, oh my God, I was so freaked out. I never went back in the water again.
Oh, that's incredible. Like me, you're born in England. How long have you been here?
I got here in 95,
Mm.
1995, first time, and mainly lived in Sydney, around the Sydney area. And so, yeah, this trip all the way around Australia was my first kind of real immersion. And it was about, I think, from where I was at, it was about me wanting to find myself. And I think, if anything, from this talk, I'm a self-confessed self-development junkie. I think that I just, whether it's the meditation or doing the coaching work, is this constant inquiry into how the mind works, why do we do what we do? And because I had gotten to a point where I felt so emotionally broken and thought, I'm an intelligent woman. How could I have gotten to this place?
Yeah.
How could I got there? I needed to go on that journey and find myself again, find my mojo. And that might not be great shakes for everybody, and it might have been really extreme, but it was an incredible experience on many levels, more so because I look back at what I achieved and I'm blown away by what I actually did, not just building the van, but actually going off and doing the things
Yeah,
that.
I mean, what kind of person says I'll just build a van rather than I'll get a van? What were you thinking?
Well,
What
it
did
was
you?
COVID, and so we were in lockdown, and I wanted a project, and I kind of had the idea, all right, well, I'll buy a secondhand van, and I'll start watching the YouTube videos and do what I can. And then I guess in the back of my head, it wasn't like I was seeing the big picture. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna do the sound editing now, or I'm gonna do the rust now, or and it was just one thing layered on another until eventually it got to the point, well, okay, I'm going to put my stuff in storage. I'm going now. So it wasn't really premeditated. I mean, I know I had the idea I'll go off to Western Australia, but I even thought by the time that comes around, I could probably fly. Like COVID would, you know, but it just kept on evolving. And the honest truth is, I just built the carcass, and it got to the point where I was having to build the bed and the cabinetry. And I only have a jigsaw, or I only had a jigsaw. I couldn't even cut a straight line, let alone do any of the cabinetry. So I managed to get someone to build all the cabinetry for me, and they did the most amazing job. They worked with my design and really, really brought it to life. And so, yeah, it was kind of a work in progress. But yeah, I really, it was an incredible experience.
That's
That.
amazing. I love that on a symbolic level, you thought, okay, I'm out of here. I'm going to build a vehicle, not only the actual motorhome and travel solo, but I'm going to build the new me. I'm going to get everything in place. I'm going to build the ethereal vehicle that's going to give me the experiences I need, and then
Yeah.
took it on the road.
Yeah.
What would you say after 2.5 years
Yeah.
traveling solo? Obviously, you learned heaps. Obviously, it could be like 3 million books you could write on the thing. But what kind of floats the surface of the two or three main things you learned about yourself or decided about life while you were doing that?
That I think the first thing that comes up is that I always have a choice. One thing that really impacted me, I had a really bad time. I had slept. I inadvertently had slept near the dog pound in one particular town, and the dogs were howling all night. Obviously, going to be put down. It was just really horrendous. And then in the morning, I got fined by the rangers because I had been in an area where I shouldn't have been, and so it kind of rocked. I had got to a really bad point, and I was speaking to one of my mentors, and she just said, you can just check it all in. You can just fly back, like just don't stress kind of thing. And it was this kind of awakening moment where I have a choice. Like I don't have to do this. Who am I trying to prove anything to? And it was really empowering. It might sound really simple, but
No, that's really
yeah,
deep. Yeah.
yeah, it was really kind of, I am the author of my own destiny. If I don't like it, I can stop doing this. And one of the things that I now talk to, I'm doing some speaking gigs and talk about my resilience, is this idea of our heartbeats, because we only have so many heartbeats, right? We don't know how many heartbeats we're going to have. But at the end of the day, those heartbeats are the most precious currency that we own, right? Because we don't know. So choosing wisely what you're spending those heartbeats on is the greatest gift that you can have to yourself. So whether that's you're in a toxic relationship that you shouldn't, you don't want to be in, those are your heartbeats, nobody else's. So make a choice about what it is that you're spending them on. Don't stay in a relationship because you don't want to hurt somebody else. You're only going to end up hurting yourself. And that saying goes for leadership roles in businesses, taking on board too much, that people-pleasing tendency, the imposter syndrome. I've boiled it down to this idea that we only have so many heartbeats, so choose wisely what you spend them on.
I really love that. And I love particularly the way you said that we only have so many heartbeats and they're my heartbeats, they're not somebody else's. Because because it's got poetry, because it's lyrical, the way you say that, it makes more sense, it hits home more.
Yes.
And it reminds me a bit, I know that you spend a lot of your life speaking and, as you say, working with corporate people and helping them with leadership things as well, and helping them to work out how they use and spend their heartbeats. And I know from looking at your website that you also, on a one-to-one basis, do dating coaching.
Yes.
Yeah, which is, and I noticed there you had 3 pillars. I wrote them down. You help people. You said 3 pillars in no particular order. One, to transform. So if somebody comes to you and wants dating help with dating, one of the pillars is transforming unhealthy relationship patterns. One is being open to love. And it's the third one. You help people to look at your relationship with yourself, which is a little bit similar to what you were saying there. How do you spend your heartbeats, not somebody else's? Would you like to just explain a little bit more about that? Because some people might be interested in talking to you about their dating lives.
Yeah. So it really comes back from this idea that the wounding that we have as children is about being preoccupied with the other. And without being too self-centered, it's really about bringing it back to first love yourself. And so my whole coaching pathway for that particular niche is about the fly pathway. So first love yourself, and really connecting with, what am I spending my heartbeats on? What do I really want here? And if you get, some of my clients have been people pleasing for so long that they no longer know what they want. Asking them that is like this crazy kind of question. They can't really comprehend about putting their needs, what they want first, because they've been so preoccupied with the other person. So it's bringing awareness to that. If there was any kind of takeaway that I could give to your listeners, it's about understanding what your intention is, whether you're in an office, whether you're in a relationship, whatever it is. For me, through COVID, that was the idea of, I can't do this anymore. I'm feeling stuck in this house. And my intention is to reconnect to a younger version of me that was going off and traveling and experiencing. And so that was my intention. And then to bring awareness, right? How to bring awareness to your intention. How aware are you that this is the intention that you're wanting to try and resolve? So when you bring awareness to something, that enables the choice. And that was what I found out on the road, like getting myself so caught up in the drama of, oh, it's all going bad and pear-shaped, wasn't enabling or empowering me to bring awareness to the choice that I had in each and every single moment. And so bringing that awareness to that informed my behavior. I was then able to respond to my reality in a very, very different way, rather than in a mechanical, what I've always done, in that kind of victim-like mentality. And so it was a real shift. I learned so much out on the road on so many different levels. And that's what I bring to my coaching sessions now with my clients, to really help them see how genuinely empowered and how they can be the author of their own lives in so many profound ways that there is just operating outside their awareness. So my role is really to just mirror back and bring that back into their own awareness again.
I love that you now have this amazing gift to give people, which all resulted, sadly, from a difficult relationship, from swimming in crocodile-infested water and other things. I'd love you to give your best link for people so that they can contact you and discover all your amazing resources.
Sure. So if you're interested in in having a difficult conversation, you can go to tzaracoach.com/3 days. So that's Tzara spelled Tzara coach COACH.com/3, the number 3 days. So that will take you to the difficult conversations. If you're interested in exploring and deepening your relationship and getting to this awareness that I've been speaking to, the fly pathway is on myconfidencecoach.com.au. So myconfidencecoach.com.au. But I'd love to be able to share some ebooks with your listeners that if they want to download, I'll put those in the links for you to share. So there's a couple of leadership ebooks and some relationships. So if you're looking for love, or even if you're in a relationship, I've got a couple of ebooks of 52 different date ideas that you can go creative date ideas. So there's a little bit more than just a movie or a coffee. And if you're looking for love and you want some ways to kind of meet someone that's safe and healthy out in real life, I've got 52 ways to meet somebody in real life. And all of the photographs that were in these particular ebooks were taken on my trip around Australia. So there's some incredible footages of emus, not crocs, but sunsets and all sorts of stuff. So I'm more than happy to share that with your listeners.
That's absolutely fabulous, and I'll put all those links in the show notes.
Beautiful.
I know you have another meeting to go to. It's been great having you as a guest on the show, and I know everyone will love you and come and find out what you've got to offer. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I mean, I always say this, thank you for sharing your heartbeats with me.
Thank you for sharing yours with me. I love that idea, don't you, of you've only got so many heartbeats, and paying attention to the heartbeats and how you want to spend them, and particularly making sure that the heartbeats you're spending are your own heartbeats. You can contact Tzara and find out more about her work at her website, which is myconfidencecoach.com.au. The .au is Australia. My Confidence Coach, all one word. myconfidencecoach.com.au. And I'll put the links to her workshops and her ebooks that she mentioned in the show notes, so you can easily find those. Thank you, as always, to Ewan Gray for sound editing and composing our theme music. To make sure you don't miss any of our future episodes, please hit the follow button at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you normally listen on my website, that's great, but please pop over to Apple or Spotify, search for the show, search for The Dream Show with Jane Teresa Anderson, and hit follow there, because your follow helps more people discover the show in the first place. Thank you for listening to yet another episode of The Dream Show. You can find out more about my services, books and courses at janeteresa.com. That's Teresa without an H. Have a beautiful day. I'll speak to you next month. I'm Jane Teresa Anderson.